Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations. So the last couple videos I've put out have essentially been a crystal ball, and today we're going to do a recap of the past couple videos I've released, going over the play-by-play and seeing how it all turned out. But ultimately, what's most important was calling the bottom for XRP at 51 cents, followed by being confident that it would hit $1 around the August new moon. This call was crucial because during the times where we had blood in the streets, I was keeping you all calm and making sure to give you the most accurate and thorough analysis of the charts so that we could be ahead of the masses. And here we are, and now you can see the method to the madness. Gematria Numerology Astrology combined with non-emotional technical analysis allows us to have an edge on the market and to be able to navigate what's happening throughout all the chaos. So for those of you that have found my work, you know that we are calm, focused on the analysis, and simply we follow the moon. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, numerology, and astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my mastermind course. My email's in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So just a quick recap of what happened in the last video I released. If you go to the 17-minute and 25-second mark, you'll hear me mentioning a quote, "We can wake up tomorrow and see a 20% to the upside candle for XRP." And that is exactly what happened. This video was released on August 10th, and you could see the price in this video was 0.819, around 82 cents. And the following day, once we broke 86 cents, we saw the price pump 20%, as high as 27% gain at one point. So we manifested that. And it's pretty interesting the way that all worked out because I had the Gematria and numerology to back it up. So let's recap that as well. So we have the 8/11/2021 giving us the 15, and that 15 comes back to XRP and the Chaldean cipher. And I felt confident about this week because we're in the 32nd week of the year, and that 32 comes back to Leo. And Leo is the zodiac that we're currently in. So we have all this confluence, and here was an extra layer of confidence that we had. Leo gives us the 15, just like XRP with the 15. Again, I told you Leo has the 32, like we're in the 32nd week of the year. The date numerology of 15 as well, with the 8/11/2021 matching Leo. And then on top of that, the day of the 11th of August was a Wednesday, or miércoles, the day of Mercury. And Mercury gives us the 86 in the same cipher as Ripple giving us the 86. And that is exactly what happened yesterday in the price. You can see where my cursor is, basically around the 86-cent level. Once XRP broke that, it just shot up, and the price went from 86 cents as high as all the way at $1.09, which was a 26% gain. If you measure from bottom of the candle to the top, we're looking at about 27%. And that 27 number comes back to Jupiter, so that's kind of interesting that today is Thursday, or Thor's Day, the day of Jupiter, and we get that 27% gain leading into Ripple being 27 Chaldean and Jupiter being 27 in Chaldean, matching in all those ciphers. You can see how this all comes together, right? And what's also interesting about how this code works, remember I told you today's the numerology of when this date broke out being the 8/11/2021 at 15, and then this matching XRP with the 15, and then Leo with 15 on the 32nd week of the year. And when I said this in the video, it was 17 minutes and 25 seconds. And if you type in 1725, you get 15. How crazy is the code? Now, that's debatable how this all works, but it's pretty pretty amazing that I even looked into this. But again, one of my followers mentioned to me, hey, you actually said that this would happen at this point in your video. So when I had a chance, I went back and watched it and I was like, oh my, that is insane that that happened. So another thing, just to kind of pass through that, today's date numerology being 8/12/221, this 2021. What I'm interested about this date is when you add it as such. So you have the 8 plus 12 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, giving you the 25. Now this 25 comes back to BTC, and this is interesting because it's also the 223rd day of the year, and that 223 comes back to reverse skull and bones. You can see 322, so the mirrored of that would be 223, as above, so below. And we're getting a little red today in the market. The prices of all these cryptos are having a little bit of a pullback. And in my recent videos last week, I was expecting a micro cycle top to happen on Bitcoin on August 11th, the day before the 12th. And the bigger reason behind that is because today, the 12th of August, is 666 weeks and 6 days since the release of the Satoshi Nakamoto Bitcoin white paper. And I was very adamant about the 11th date of August. And another interesting thing was our new moon was on 8/8, and the 8/11 gives us 88 as well, because 8 times 11 is 88. So that was just like a little side note that I brought up in one of my previous videos to consider. Basically, really bullish energy between 8/8 and 8/11, and that's exactly what we got, the 88 date and the 88 date. And this 88 is 2 infinity symbols, or 2 Taurus fields. And that's a little more esoteric, but just another side note for those of you that are interested. Now, what I brought up was exactly this would happen on the 11th of August, which was yesterday. The Bitcoin price would hit up to the 0.5 fib, around $47,000. And I'll show you right here. That line right there is the 0.5 fib. If you look at my cursor, and that is exactly what we touched perfectly on the 0.5 fib, around $46,800. So that's nice. This actually played out legitimately 100% the way that I thought it would. I said that around the new moon, as high as the 11th or 12th, we'll see that microcycle top hit around the 0.5 fib, around $47,000. And then after that, we'll get a slight pullback because of the 12th being the 666 weeks, 6 days, and then the following day, which is tomorrow, being Friday the 13th. Okay, so this is all beautiful how it's working out, and it's actually quite necessary that we get a pullback right now anyways, because Bitcoin has literally went from $29,000 to almost $47,000 in the course of 21 days. That's a little fast. Okay, so these coins need to chill out. We got our Bitcoin buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator that I talked about in my last Patreon video. Again, if any one of you isn't in my Patreon, you wanted to join to get some more exclusive content, you could go to www.patreon.com/watersabove. It's also in the description box, and there you can see access to all of my Discord calls where I'm buying and selling my cryptos. I expose that in the Discord, and then I also am giving everyone updates or answering questions whenever I have the time. So that's something that I brought up as well. So another thing to consider is tomorrow being the 224th day of the year, and we could see that right here when we go 112021 to 813, the Friday the 13th date. You could see right here we're getting 224 days. Okay, so this 224 number actually comes back to Satoshi Nakamoto with the 224 in the English ordinal. So we're getting so many things coming in this week. You know, that's why I was very adamant about that 32nd week of the year leading into the 33rd week of the year. So this Satoshi Nakamoto, the 224, and tomorrow being the 224th date. Another interesting thing is if you type in 8/13/2021, you get the 17. So this date tomorrow, and that 17 comes back to XBT right here in the reversible reduction. The XBT is the alternative ticker symbol to Bitcoin. So you have BTC and then you have XBT. So you have that 46, and then you have the 17, which matches tomorrow's date numerology of 8/13/2021. With the 17. But then another thing that's interesting about XBT is you get the 46, and that's where our current resistance is at $46,000. So this code is amazing how it works. It's just such a crystal ball. It's really mind-blowing, but once you get comfortable with it, it reduces a lot of the anxieties and stress because you have a lot more confidence in what's going on in this market. So again, we're leading into the 33rd week of the year. The 33 number is really important in the esoteric wisdom, but the 32 number is also important. Anytime you have that 32, you got to think about essentially when it's ice. So when water is ice, it's at the 32nd degree, and then it transitions back to water at the 33rd degree, and that's why it's called the unfrozen mind or the unfrozen pineal gland, where you're able to be conscious. So it's a little more esoteric, but something to consider. Now let's get to the analysis, okay? So we have some things going on. We have a 2-day closure tonight. I'm going to turn off the drawing tools because we're aware that we got our perfect touch point up to the 0.5 fib, so we can leave a little check mark on that. That analysis worked out beautifully. And let's pull up some of our moving averages. So for one, we do have all of our key moving averages looking really solid. For one, we have our bullish cross of the 8 simple above the 55 simple. Beautiful. We can see the 200s both sloping to the upside. That's really nice to see. And let's bring up our exponential moving averages, and you could see something really nice happening right here. We've officially had a cross of the 13 exponential above the 55 simple, and you can see the 21 exponential is crossing above the 34 exponential. So what this will look like is in bullish posture, meaning the 13 is above the 21, which is above the 34. That's really good, and we're going to be having that happen on tonight's close. The reason I know it will happen on tonight's close is unless there's an absolute dump all the way down to $37,000 in the next 12 hours, these will all cross bullish. So what's going to happen now is the 8 will be above the 13, and then these two moving averages, the 21 and the 34, will need to cross above the 55. Once that happens, the 2-day will look bullish across the board, and I will be even more confident that we're going to remain bullish for the next 5 months or so. Now, that's really good. I believe that that analysis right there gives us a lot of information, but let's just look at some other things. Let's turn off these exponentials and go to the daily chart. And you can see today we actually did start to trade below the 200 simple, and now we're back testing the 8 simple. That's okay. I would suspect we can still get a daily close above this 8 simple, but I would not be surprised if we actually started to pull back a little more, and I'll explain that in a moment. Let's go to our 12-hour. We haven't talked about that yet, but there's some things that could be nice to see here. For one, the 12-hour is about to have the 55 crossing above these two 200s. That would be really nice to see. The 55 simple crossing above the 200 simple, and then eventually above the 200 exponential, and then all of these moving averages on the 12-hour will be in bullish posture. So what I mean by that is it'll be the 8, 13, 21, 34, 55 eventually, and then the 200s below that. That would be a very nice sign. So just keep that in the back of your mind for those of you that are more technically inclined. And what I suspect will be happening next is a back test of the 382 fib. So you see this line right here, this white line is the 382, the $42,500 level. And the reason that would make a lot of sense is because that's the previous highs that we got resistance on before the breakout. So just consider back testing that level would be totally normal. And I could actually remove this line here and this line and show you something else that might be important to consider. We have a trend line here going down like that. We're just pulling from the wicks to be, kind of a little more dramatic right now because we know the volatilities here in the market. And let's pull up the 21 exponential. So you can see right here on this trend line that I just drew, you also have the 21 exponential on the daily kind of catching up with this trend line. And this tells me that we could actually have a back test of this trend line before the end of the weekend, maybe even by Saturday or Sunday. And that would make total sense to essentially come down here and then ride up it and then get recovery into the end of the month. And now I wouldn't also be surprised if this trend line breaks structure. I really don't care about trend lines that much. They're like especially short-term trend lines, but I would imagine that that's probably where we're going to gravitate to in the event that we're bearish. We're going to gravitate towards that 21 exponential. So another thing to keep in mind in regards to downside. Downside is the name of the game at this time because we knew we had that bearish divergence on the daily RSI. We knew that we had the 12-hour MACD cross bearish. So those are all things that we need to pay attention to. Once we're starting to get signs of like resistance and a topping structure, then we want to look for pullback targets. And it's natural that we pull back to the 21 exponential when we're remaining bullish. At this time, I do not believe we will start to trade below 38,000. I think at best we would maybe get a touch back to the 236 in the most bearish scenario, but it doesn't really seem likely. That's extremely bearish for how nice this structure has been forming. But again, anything's possible in the matrix. What I suspect is going to happen is by tomorrow, we might see a little bit more downside into the $42,000 area, start to backtest the 13 exponential, and then bounce from there, maybe touch the 21 exponential. So let's move on to XRP. Could see a lot of drainage across the board for these altcoins, man. When Bitcoin loses a little bit of value, you'll see these alts, man, they really pull back. So anyways, let's touch on what's going on with XRP. We can see that XRP pumped all the way to the 382 fib. After it got rejected off of that level, it started to have massive red volume come in, and that's normal. That's totally normal with XRP. It tends to have its microcycle tops in the first go and then trade a little sideways for a while, and then it will pop back up and then continue to the upside. Exactly kind of what we saw with Bitcoin when it hit the 382 the first time a couple days ago. It needs to build some trading range. Otherwise, people just hold, they get too weak at these levels and they sell everything. And it causes these downward spirals, especially when people start shorting with leverage. So you could thank them. Anyways, I mentioned that we would have a breakout, and when this breakout got above the 86-cent level, it just mooned right away. But what's kind of unhealthy about this structure is we never back tested the 236 fib. This is making me feel like we could actually come all the way back here eventually. Now, maybe not right now, but eventually. And it's just because once you break through this level and you don't back test it at all, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me from a technical analysis perspective. And XRP is not unscathed from experiencing massive corrections before continuation. So just keep that in mind. But now let's look at some more positive things. Let's bring up the Bollinger Bands. And you can see this is great. We're actually just sort of back testing the topside Bollinger Band, which is sitting at around 95 cents. Again, having a closure above this topside band equals continuation, and that would be really nice to see. A daily close tonight for XRP above 95.3. And let's look at the 2-day, because we know we have the 2-day closing, and we're actually above that as well. 2-day is at 87, basically 88 cents. So if we close tonight above 88 cents, we'll actually be above the topside Bollinger Band on the 2-day, and that is very bullish. Let's look at the 5-day. 5 days looking all right, and we're about to get a MACD cross bullish, which should be coming in fairly soon. Again, we have the 5-day closing on the 14th, so essentially right after the weekly close for the traditional market. If the dollar index continues to pump, which it seems to have wanted to, then of course it could be very bloody moving into the weekend. But then the weekend, while Bitcoin and crypto is the only show in town, you can see some bullish reactions leading into the weekly close for crypto. Just something to keep in mind. Let's look at some of the exponential moving averages on the 2-day and see if we could get any more information. Okay, so we see something really nice happening here. We saw the 13 cross above the 21, and we're about to see the 13 cross above the 34. That could possibly happen in tonight's close, so something to keep out for. Once that happens, we look for the 21 to cross above the 34, and then that will be in a bullish posture. So keep that in mind. That's something else that could be nice to see. Let's look at the simple moving averages. Okay, this is also great. You see this 55, the white moving average, sitting at 91 cents. Remember I said 88-cent closure tonight? Well, a 91-cent closure would be even better because that would be the first time closing above the 55 simple since pretty much back in early June. That's another great sign. So again, closing here at this level of 92 cents would make sense because that was the bull flag measured breakout target that we had. If you remember when we had the last video, I brought up a small bull flag where we pulled it from the body close to the body close and then brought it up, and it gave us half staff measurement of around 92 cents. So closing around there tonight would be great on the 2-day. And it would also be obviously a huge green increase since the previous candle as well. So really nothing to say at this time that's bearish besides I believe we need a pullback. We shouldn't just keep moving up in a straight line. It's great to have a red day once in a while to cool off a little bit so that it keeps the RSI on the shorter time frames healthy. Okay, so anyways, if any of you are interested in learning how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my mastermind course. Feel free to email me for access to the course. And also my Patreon is in the description as well if you're trying to get some updates on the market, some exclusive content, my weekly Red Pill episode. We have our private Discord where I share what I'm buying and what I'm selling. We reached a level 3 on our Discord, so it looks beautiful over there. It's really cool having all the new features that we have, potentially doing live streams there very soon as well. So if any of you are interested in becoming a patron, go ahead to www.patreon.com/watersabove and enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.